seconds. Seconds, everyone.
Yeah, that's my necklace.
Okay, Maria, lose the dog.
Lose the dog.
Welcome world, I think we're live. And before our main feature, Maria, just join me.
Da 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 da. Woo!
On Sunday, 6 o'clock, the Flying Starts Flea Circus will be live webcasting from our front room. The flea circus in this world where everything's condensed into very small spaces by the virus. This will be the most exciting small space you can be in.
Oh!
Thank you.
My ear off.
Welcome, everyone, to the House of Automata and Automata Live. Filmed by Maud Start with baby Fred attached. And our puppy here, Nellie, will be helping us today. I'm Michael Start.
And I'm Maria Start. And this is Heba.
Heba, our introductory automata. Some of you are wondering, what is an automaton? And here we have a good example of a French Golden Age automaton produced by the firm of Lambert of Paris. Produced in about 1880, she's missing her clothes, she's missing her beautiful hair, which would have been real hair, just like Maria's. But what makes her different from any kind of toy or doll? What is it, Maria?
Well, she moves, of course.
And how does she move?
She moves by clockwork. I wind her up from the back, pull out the stop-start button, and she will perform for you her beautiful tricks. It's not really a trick.
Now, she came to us like this. We don't know what she was supposed to be doing, but maybe there was a table. Maybe she was a magician, tapping with her wand, or a lady doing her makeup. But what I want to show you is the fact that her body is made of papier-mâché, a really strong and durable material, 100 years old. And we don't have to worry, we can repair it. It's strong, it's light. Now, I won't be doing the same trick with her head because that's fine bisque porcelain. And that gives her a sort of inanimate, dull look. And therefore, in our opinion, not our most favourite type of automaton.
But the wonderful thing about Heather is the sculpting of her body is fantastic. Really serious professional sculptors would make the bodies and then sell them on to all the automata families.
Whisk her away, Maria, because she's a little bit dull with that slow motion. She would have been expensive, but this girl would have been cheap. This is a dancing doll by Merengue of Paris, again about 110 years old. Fantastic, she's listening to the music, she's changing her dance first one way then the other, and she's doing all this powered by clockwork. And I think we have another example over there, Maria, because we can have dance off. Rare as they are at the House of Automata, they just come at you in droves. Nellie.
They've got little dangly legs that scoot off the box, first one way then the other. So you never know which way they're going to dance. Sometimes they go in one direction only. Sometimes they're this way then that way.
But a trademark thing about these is they have no arm movement. They're kind of like the Irish dancers. So, those are Giselles. We have a much more refined dancer here. by Roulet and Decamp of Paris, about 1870. This is the eponymous doll on a music box. The one sort of featured in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Her only point of contact through that one ballet shoe to the mechanism is one single rod going up through a hollow tube. And yet she kicks, she moves her head, she moves at the waist, and all the time on this movable turntable. Very popular with Decamp. So popular.
Here we have the beast of the pair, Beauty and the Beast, dancing to the same tune, except it's a different tune.
And at the time this was made, people would have been used to performing bears at their street corners, in their markets. It would have been part of street entertainment to have a dancing bear. And the two of them here, let's have a dance off again. I think I like the bear. She's
Yeah,
pretty.
I like the bear. Okay. Oh.
Now, as well as figurative automata, we specialise in restoring another kind of automaton, and Maria will produce a good example here.
Bluebird.
We call it Bluebird.
Because it's a blue bird.
This was a real bird flying around in a French woodland in about 1860. And how long ago is that, Maria?
Oh, Michael, you always ask that. I don't, a really long time
A
ago.
very long time ago, like about 170 years ago. So that's when this mechanism was made. And the song, all the beautiful trills and slides of a real bird, air pumped through bellows, 2 pumping chambers, 1 reservoir, through a swanny whistle, and with hard discs of brass that are defined with every note, literal hard discs containing the information. Now this one was designed to be in a Sèvres porcelain jar, and the little holes in the top were for silk flowers, so it would fit in any home.
And a quick shout out to Mark Forelli.
Thank you, Mark.
Why did you use pink for the bellows?
So, before I reveal what's in this little box, Maria,
Oh,
in
I'll
your
do that.
side of the wardrobe,
Oh.
in your side of the wardrobe, if you look at the running order, you'll be going to
The Gilded Cage.
the Gilded Cage. So singing birds are real birds with real feathers that have had all their anatomy exchanged for mechanism, but they come in different sizes. And this one, for the smaller salon, is produced by Bontoms of Paris and sings beautifully. The wonderful gilded base here, you can see Nelly having a good appreciative sniff at in an earlier Instagram post. Can drive you wild after a time, really.
So, I have here a beautiful silver box. It's very heavy, and I wonder if anyone can guess what's inside. Here is a little clue. Anyone guess it? A little singing bird. And all the mechanism you saw in that first bluebird is in here, packed tight. Tiny little mechanism with the whistle, the bellows, everything.
Sometimes Maria has the job of re-feathering these birds using fragments of feather, isn't that right?
That's right, yes, that's
Yeah.
a great job.
I'm banned from the workshop. Every
Yeah.
time I come in, the feathers go everywhere.
One sneeze and my day's work can be over.
Yeah. So I specialise in the bellows. Maria does the feathering on these little singing birds. We're now going to go to one of my real favourite automata. It's behind these red curtains. I think it was a one-off by a company called Falibois of Paris, made in about 1880. I bring it forward here. Maud, I don't know if you can see from that distance, or are you coming forward with the camera? Here we have a hillside with plain dried flowers on it.
Bit boring, really.
Not at all. And inside this hillside there's a secret. A 1,000 tiny dancers and a beautiful garden. It's called the Grotto, Falibois of Paris.
And we've had some notifications that the bandwidth isn't great, but I'm afraid there's not a lot we can do about it. We'll try standing stiller, perhaps?
Maybe if we talk more slowly.
If you go onto Instagram, then I think you've got a better stream. So go over to Instagram if you want a better focus and a better bandwidth.
Yes,
At the House of Automata on Instagram.
yes. Shall we pause?
Go over to Instagram now.
Thank you. So after the Grotto,
Oh,
we've got
Maybe.
something to all you who are feeling a bit bored of all this stuff.
maybe this will,
Maybe you're nodding off.
or maybe this will wind up the bandwidth. Come on, internet. Come on,
Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
And before you whisk it away, you're very quick on the winding handle there.
Was that too quick?
Well,
I was trying to.
it's a barrel organ, made in France, made in Paris, and used for performing earning money, busking on street corners. So this is a highly portable version. Often they're fitted with a strap, and people would go out and on the street corners, off they go. And they're not always been as in tune as this one. And so this one's quite good at the moment. So thank you, Maria.
You're welcome. I'll be slower next time.
So we've had the loud dance organ. Automata are not all about entertainment. Here we have a model of a chariot made of gilded brass, the original chariot designed and made in China more than 2,000 years ago, was full size. This was a full size chariot with a full size man on the top pointing, and it's called the South Pointing Chariot because this chariot has a magical property. Wherever it went, the emperor on the top always pointed south. And the south pointing chariot was invented to solve a problem. The problem of armies decimated in the yellow mist, brought down by the enemy's fog, by the enemy's wizards, would bring down the mist, and they needed effectively a compass to navigate their way out of the mist. So this was carried by the army into battle. And as it always pointed south, they always knew how to get out of the mist. Now, how it does this is not magic. It's actually differential gearing. The same kind of gearing in that other very early contraption, the Antikythera mechanism. So something of a cult object now, the south-pointing chariot. Maria is bringing another mechanical wonder out onto the table here. And Maria, do you want to tell us about this?
This is the Auto-Peripateticus. Seen here with her body on.
And what does Auto-Peripateticus mean, Maria?
What don't you know? It means automatically walking
Doll.
Doll.
Yes. And is that French?
No, it's Greek.
It is. So you should know.
Yeah.
Invented in about 1865 by Enoch Rice Morrison. This mechanism is a wonder.
Watch how I'm winding up this spring to put power into the Auto-Peripateticus. As it gets smaller, it's taking my energy, which it will release slowly.
Of course, the body should be on top, hiding the mechanism.
Don't say your usual joke, because my mother might be watching.
Now, what Enoch Rice Morrison solved here was the problem they have in robotics today of a bipedal robot lifts 1 foot from the ground and then falls to one side. So how do you get a robot to lift its foot up without falling off to the side? Well, the Auto-Peripateticus has the answer with its steady, robust gait. Necessary because some models had a fine bisque porcelain head, which you didn't want to break. And the secret of how it does it, I'm afraid we'll save for another day, because this mechanism keeps its secrets. The Auto-Peripateticus. We now come to one I love to demonstrate.
Yeah, just try it. Just try it.
I'm afraid Maria sort of has monopolised this one.
Okay, this is just a boring basket of flowers. Nothing interesting to see at all. Thank you. Just a boring basket of flowers with a key.
So dull. It's a very girly thing.
I lied.
Rabbit with a headache. Made by the company Roulet and Decomp of Paris. This one made about 1910, possibly after the First World War, 1920. And one of their most popular items were rabbits rising out of various objects. For some reason, people really love this.
For some reason, it's gorgeous.
Ow. The actual bestseller from Roulet and Decomp on this theme was this one, the rabbit in a cabbage. Very rare. They come onto the market maybe once or twice a year at auction, and often then only because they're broken. People keep these in the family. We just repaired one called Sunday Bunny because its owner, an old lady,
She might not be old.
a very glamorous, beautiful young lady, produced her Sunday Bunny every week to entertain her family. Whoops. It's all right. He's not
I know
broken.
someone who can mend it.
Here he goes. Oh, it's coming out. Again.
It's meant to come out.
They sold these by the tens of thousands, and still They're so popular. Very difficult to repair because they're quite sealed within this egg of a cabbage. So getting inside to service them is, you need to know what you're doing with these. Love the way it leans over before it dives back in. The rabbit in a cabbage.
Now here we have the blinking, winking tiger, made by the same company, Roulet de Comte, about 1890 again. Covered in, we think maybe goat fur on this one. So this is the blinking, winking tiger. So all get closer to your screens.
Maria,
Come right in.
does it always wink?
It winks if it likes you.
Why is its legs so short?
Oh, I don't know. That's your theory. Okay, so look into his eyes. Look into his eyes. Oh! And again, I lied. It doesn't blink or
Maria.
wink. It's the leaping tiger. I like to get children with this one. I like to get them right up close.
And it's another Roulet de Comte, the son of the company, Gaston de Comte. Oh, it was his job to go out and make the designs for the new Automata. And the story goes he went to the Paris Zoo to see the only tiger he could see, which happened to be a very old tiger right near the end of its life, who just sat at the front of the cage and wouldn't stand up. It was thrown its meat, it ate its meat, it just stayed there. So Gaston de Comte had to guess how long its legs were. And that's why the Roulet de Comte leaping tiger has such short legs. So Maria, can you demonstrate how to look into the eyes? This is how you should do it. Without, and this way he'll always blink.
I've never done that before.
Oh, it's terrifying, isn't it? You shouldn't do it on the children.
No.
Now, in this box is something incredibly rare and special. We keep it in here for safety. And today I'm going to lift the cage door and let's see what comes out. Can you hear it grumbling in there? Can you hear it?
I can hear it. Can you hear it at home?
Is anything coming out? Roulet de Comte's creeping leopard. Missing the head and the body,
And the tail.
and with only one spot remaining on each of its four legs, but still full of life. The engineering here, basic, agricultural, but perfectly suited for this crawling leopard. You'll see there's a chain, a transmission chain. This linked chain carries the drive to all four paws. Four-paw drive. The chain doesn't slip because of this rudimentary tensioner, a little piece of wooden dowel held by a spring. And that's carried this leopard forward for 140 years nearly. Now what gives it that gravitas, that real stealth of a cat, is because these forepaws, made of wood, have been hollowed out and filled with lead. And Maria, if you just stand back a bit, we can get the light on the leopard. The lead makes those forepaws really heavy, and the engaging friction, one of an engineer's most adhered to rules, you don't have engaging friction, but de Comte threw out the rule book because they wanted their leopard to be lifelike. At the back here, turning faster than the eye can see is a part called the fly. The fly regulates the speed. And when I stop the fly, you may just be able to see a spiral of steel. That steel spiral is called the worm. So the worm and the fly conspire together to bring life to the leopard. And it's one of our favourites. I think we both love this automaton. It was hired out to lots of films. Martin Scorsese loved this leopard when he hired it for the film Hugo. And we had a little bit of trouble getting it back, really, from his desk, but there it is. The leopard full of life. And next, Maria is going to produce for us.
Oh yes, the sand toy.
Before we do, if you're watching on Facebook and you are not happy with the stream, go over to Instagram where it is much better. I repeat, go to Instagram, only on the app, if you want a better stream.
Okay.
Do it. It will be worth it. Now, so far, you've only seen clockwork automata. They've been powered by hand, wound by key. This is powered in a different way. And what I'm doing now is winding it up.
We're good at that.
Yep, I get a lot of practice. Now, can anybody guess what is powering my acrobat automata?
And while you're thinking what could be powering him, what you're looking at is a chaotic pendulum, beautifully and sensitively proportioned to bring out the best in the acrobatics of the figure. Now this acrobat is no ordinary acrobat, for this is Jules Leotard. Jules Leotard wowed the world with his acrobatic feats back in the 1860s. He died in 1870, but he left behind a legacy in the tight-fitting little bit of uniform that he wore, the leotard. Now, how is he performing?
Anyone know? Write it down in your little comments bar. Anyone gets it right, Michael will put on his leotard as a prize.
We have a few comments. Some people think it's a flywheel.
No.
Other people have said twisted rubber band.
No,
Oh.
good thought, but no,
Yeah.
good guess.
And we have one person asking if it's magnets.
No, not magnets.
And I think perhaps this is the winner. Is it sand?
Sand!
Well, congratulations, Lorraine, 74, and lots of other people.
Well
Dead
done,
eyes.
everyone.
Well
Yes.
done, Lorraine, 74 in particular. Yes, sand is powering this. Very popular motive power in the Victorian times.
Have we got our demo one?
No
No,
demo
okay.
out to show.
Well, if I had the demo one, it would show that as I was turning it, I was putting the sand from the bottom up into the hopper at the top, which then pours out of the hopper onto the, like a water wheel, but not a water wheel,
Sand wheel.
sand wheel, but people know what a water
Pelton
wheel
wheel. Wheel with veins.
Really?
Yes.
Really,
Yeah,
really?
grains of sand. Yeah.
So that's how it's working.
And this
Clever.
particular one is just great. It runs for about 20 minutes, often longer, and he seems to never repeat the same act. He's just such a good acrobat. Much better than this dull strawberry seller we're going to be seeing
You
next.
put that away. Oh.
If you like this show, why not watch the others? Stay tuned for the flower seller.
So here we have Strawberry Girl. Michael is always really quite mean about Strawberry Girl. I think she's beautiful. Yes, her dress is a bit dirty and her hair is in need of a wash after 120 years. But she's magical. Come close.
any idea who made her, Maria?
This was made by Lambert, or Lambert to us in the UK, of Paris. All the makers of the type we're showing you were from Paris. And
Yeah, and
This
who
is-
made that particularly wonderful bisque head?
oh, that was made by Jumeau, the company that made particularly wonderful bisque heads in Paris.
She's lovely, isn't she? And
Oh, you changed your tune.
no, she just caught me with the glimpse of the eye. Although I do much prefer my gypsy. My
Okay, let's
gypsy
have
girl.
Let's have a baby under the basket. Baby in the basket off.
I'm afraid the gypsy is a slightly cheaper head.
Look at her cheap baby. It's like homemade by someone. Okay,
That's
so
enough dollies.
who likes Strawberry Girl more than Gypsy Girl?
Gypsy. Gypsy.
Thank you, girls. Off you go.
So while Maria finishes introducing the Strawberry Girl, the various cellar girls, this wonderful large gentleman here is a musician, a banjo player. Most of the automata you've seen today are the smaller, sort of low to middle ranking in their value and cost. But our Dahomian Minstrel is one of the finest French automata from the French Golden Age. Made in the Marais district of Paris, he would have been copied faithfully, a portrait head of a Dahomian minstrel seen on the streets at the time. And I'll wind his beautifully shaped key, the key that tells us that this was made by the company Vichy, who made wonderful big automata. And he's a little bit slow and stuttering, but he still has some musical magic. His name is Roger. Roger, named after a previous owner who was in a rather well-known band, though I can't remember who. Fine silk clothes, that papier-mâché body, but critically, the face is a real person.
And look at the hands and the sculpting of the legs. Beautiful.
Now, I'll leave Roger out while Maria gets out our next automata, and we'll just reprise one that you may have noticed at the beginning, and that's Heber Harpist. Heber has that indefinable X factor, the quality of life that a truly successful automaton has.
If you thought Roger's hands were beautiful, look at Heber's. Stunning.
Again made by Vichy of Paris, and if you look behind, she's missing her harp, the lyre-shaped harp, and her clothes and the back of her body. But here you can see the mechanism. An absolutely beautiful face.
Thank you, Heber. And here we have Gromyko's bear, made by Roulin de Comp, the brilliant animal making automata team. very clever bear with a very clever bottle. And the wonderful thing about his bottle is that it's magic. And it's an everlasting, never-ending bottle.
You mean this bottle will never run out?
It will never run out.
That's
We do have
incredible.
these in production at the moment. We're hoping to have them out for sale very soon. The never-ending, everlasting, never-running out bottle. Wouldn't that be great? Maybe with all this time we've got on our hands, we could do that, Mike.
Well, I might have a job. This bear is special for several other reasons too, because he was once owned by Captain Grattage of the Queen Mary. And it was Captain Grattage who allowed the Russian minister Gromyko to play with this bear just at a cocktail party before a tense meeting of NATO and during the Cold War. And it's said that this bear put Gromyko in such a good humour that the missile crisis was averted, and possibly this bear actually saved the world from some terrible disaster.
Ow!
And I believe actually this liquid could be a vaccine.
Do you think? What,
Well, it wouldn't be the
vodka?
first time that Gromyko's bear has saved the world, would it?
Let's try it, everyone. Vodka.
Yes.
I've got a very quick shout out for all of those at Friends of the Earth Scotland and Stop Climate Chaos Scotland. Ooh.
Now we come to the most glamorous woman, apart from Maria, apart from Maud, and apart from Nellie the dog, in this room today. Sorry, Nancy. It's Nancy for our final automata of the day. Nancy, who has her own Facebook page, is a life-size automaton. Maria, perhaps you could go alongside to show the scale of Nancy. Some people might think she's a tiny dolly.
She's not. She's
No,
a big
she's
girl.
Yeah, there
What,
she is.
Nancy?
Bigger than Maria, but
Yeah.
what Nancy is good at, amongst other things, is this. Sewing. Nancy crosses and uncrosses her legs. She breathes. She looks around with her beautiful blue glass eyes. Moves each arm. And was made in about 1910 in Paris as a life-sized automaton. As I say, she has her own Facebook page, Nancy Automata, and she has many thousands of followers. Some of you may be watching today, and Nancy's very pleased to be part of the show here today. Thank you, Nancy. So, as we come to the end, I'd like, first of all, our camerawoman, Maudie. Here we go. Here's Maudie showing our technical setup.
With Fred, by popular demand
Fred
today.
baby, what a great job did Maud. And then Nellie the dog. Nellie the dog.
Nellie the dog on lockdown.
Yay! And that's from Michael and Maria. Until Sunday,
Sunday.
when in a completely different guise we shall be presenting the Flea Circus, 6 o'clock this Sunday.
6 p.m. UK time. Don't
Thank
miss
you.
it.
This has been great fun for us. We really loved doing it. I hope we got the technical side of it sorted enough. And if not, we'll try and do better next time. So thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.